This video is made in partnership with Tokyo Treat and Sakura snack boxes. More on that later. It's been about 2 years since the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen, and I need a refresher, and if you're watching this video, that probably means that you need one too. Or somebody sent you this video so they can watch the second season with you. Either way, hi, my name is Inakyu, and this is about to be a chaotic retelling of the first season plus the movie of Jujutsu Kaisen. Look at me, I got a chalkboard and everything, so you know I mean business. This will probably be a pretty long video, so feel free to grab a drink, a snack, and watch my retelling of Jujutsu Kaisen. So this is our main character. This is Yuuji Itadori, and he's just a guy. He's just a kid like you and me. He makes it known that his crush is Jennifer Lawrence, and he's a golden retriever type of guy. He's the type of guy to let you copy his homework, if he did it. Nyeh. Aw, the glare. Another thing about him is that he has a sick grandpa in the hospital. Look at him. He's an old man. And he's got not a lot of time left in him. He's literally on his deathbed. But the thing is about him is that no one except for Yuuji is with him at the hospital. And the fact that Yuuji is the only one that's there for him is really important because his grandpa says that when you're dying, you should be around a bunch of people that love you. You should be around people that care about you. He literally tells Yuuji that you should save people, make an impact on people's lives so people care about you when you die. And then guess what? He dies. Jujutsu Kaisen really doesn't take its time to establish like closeness between Yuuji and his grandpa. Yuuji just needed some Peter Parker, Uncle Ben wisdom, and that's really it. Hello, are you still with me? Do I need to put like Subway Surfer while I'm like explaining the plot? Either way, while that's happening, Megumi Fushiguro enters the show. Other than being our little emo boy, a big part about him is that he's a Jujutsu sorcerer. Jujutsu sorcery is a lame name for things, but basically that's the fancy name for people who hunt and get rid of cursed spirits. I don't want to over-explain things, but like, just know that he is looking for something. A cursed object is missing and he needs to find it. So while he's looking for this cursed object, all the clues lead to like a high school and then eventually to Yuuji, who he goes to the hospital to ask where it is, and Yuji's like, bro, I'm mourning. And Megumi's like, feels bad, man, but the thing is, this object is really dangerous, so we need to find it. So now you must be thinking, what are cursed objects? What are curses? Hey, yo, it's time for some world building. Everybody give it up for some world building! So in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, we have this thing called cursed energy, which comes from negative emotions. So if you ever feel bad or anything negative, it can manifest itself into cursed energy. And a lot of the time, negative energy can just be in one place, in one big location that people just correlate with just bad things. Like schools, probably very high in America, hospitals, prisons, Valorant lobbies. So basically, if there is enough cursed energy, that can like just turn into actual cursed spirits. Cursed monsters that like kill thousands of people every single year. Big monster. Yeah, you can't see these cursed spirits, but you can feel it. Like depression. So like cursed energy, cursed spirits all come from like bad vibes. Just think of that. But those who can see those cursed spirits are Jujutsu sorcerers, like this guy. Why are they sorcerers? I don't know. Sorcery is like correlated with wizards and stuff. So that's that. Also, fun fact, the English translation of Jujutsu Kaisen is sorcery fight. Sorcery fight? Like, what kind of nerd-sounding anime is this? Anyway, back to being a weeb. Back to the cursed object that Megumi is trying to find. The object that Megumi is trying to find belongs to someone who is known as the King of Curses. Yeah, you don't want to mess with a guy with a title like that, and he has like 4 arms, he's the big and almighty powerful cursed spirit. Like, look at him. Man has 4 arms, 4 hands, with a bunch of fingers that allegedly have a lot of power in each of them. And so, to sum it up, Megumi is trying to find one of these fingers that belong to Sukuna. Now back to the plot, Yuuji tells Megumi, sorry, I don't have that. I think my friends might, who are in a ghost club at school right now. Megumi's like, oh no, well, they could die. As they talk about this, a bunch of cursed spirits are released in the high school and the friends are getting traumatized. Boys come to the rescue and we see that Megumi has a really cool curse technique where he releases a bunch of animals to help him fight. Yuuji saves his friends and gets the finger, and Megumi is like, whew, that could have been bad because monsters are trying to eat these things so they can get stronger. Kind of like Inuyasha when you eat the jewel shards, or My Hero Academia when Deku eats hair. So just as Yuuji is about to hand over the finger to Megumi, another monster appears. The monster is about to eat Yuuji and the finger. That's like a lose-lose situation. So how do we make this a win-win? What can our main boy Yuuji do to, one, not die, and to also not have the monster eat the finger? He eats the finger. The King of Curses, Sukuna, gets reawakened. He takes over Yuji's body, and you can tell because he's basically Yuuji with tattoos. So he's in control of Yuji's body right now. Sukuna easily demolishes the monster, just kills it just like that, and is so excited to be awake again. He is so happy to be alive, but also, guess what? Yuuji is still in control of his body and can put him away. So let's put him under here for now. So as Yuuji takes control of his own body again, regains consciousness, Megumi is like, oh no, you just ate the cursed spirit? So now you are a cursed spirit. You have to die. And Sukuna is way too powerful for Megumi. Megumi is just a student. And then Megumi thinks to himself and is like, well, I do have this one power that can definitely kill you, but the thing is it'll kill me too. Guess I'll die. As Megumi makes this decision, the man, the myth, the daddy, the overpowered sensei, Gojo appears. This is Megumi's teacher and allegedly the most powerful sorcerer there is. Gojo sees the situation and just finds it hilarious. He looks to Yuuji and asks if he could speak to Sukuna, and Yuji's like, are you sure? I heard this guy's like really, really strong. And Gojo's like, don't worry, I got this. Sukuna comes out, and the coldest, cleanest introduction to our anime sensei happens. Gojo even whispers in Sukuna's ear saying that, hey, my student's watching, so I want to show off a bit. Like, what? Who is this guy? He's him. His pronouns aren't just he, him, it's also that guy. Sukuna over here is even like, who is this man? And after exchanging a few blows back and forth, Gojo tells Yuuji, hey, lock him up again. Yuuji takes control again, and then Gojo knocks him out. Now Yuuji is out cold, and both of them are looking at this problem that they have now, and Gojo's like, what should we do? And Megumi looks to Gojo and is like, we should save him. And that part is very important because it's for some character development later on. Sorry to interrupt that lesson, but I'm guessing you're hungry, it's about snack time, and y'all, let me put you on something that I've been non-stop eating and my family has not been non-stop eating, because these snack boxes give you food and treats all exclusively just from Japan. I was sent this monthly snack box called Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. Literally, like, we've been running through it. I know this seems like a lot, but honestly, there was more. See, look, this orange flavored Kit Kat. There's literally like one left. Thanks, Mom. They even send soda, ramen. This white peach mochi is actually so good. And this box is actually their July box, which was themed snacks from Osaka. And in these booklets, since all the snacks are in Japanese, I don't know what's in it. I don't know like if it fits my dietary needs, but all that information is in this booklet. You can learn more about what you're eating. These are actually so good. Like in my group chat with my parents, my dad is taking pictures and reviewing it. Apparently the cookies were delicious. And then there's the Sakura Co box, which supports local Japanese businesses, vendors. So Tokyo Treat is snacks that are really popular in Osaka, but these are from actual vendors in Japan. And this box's theme was mochi and fruit. My parents definitely went through this one, and I think they really, really liked it because there's only a few snacks left for me. And especially if you're a tea girl like me, these boxes, you'll love them. You'll love all the tea that you'll get in these boxes. But something really, really cool in the Sakura Co box is that you actually get tableware. This box came with a little dish, which is super cute. Opening these boxes feel like Christmas and you're just like wanting to see what's inside. And of course, Sakura Co boxes also come with its own little booklet that tells you all the dietary stuff. And especially the booklet includes more information about the businesses where the snacks came from. So if you're interested in that, or this one, Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co were actually kind enough to let me give you guys $5 off your order if you use code inakyu at checkout actually. So head down to their website, or you can click the link down in the description. Thank you so much to Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co for partnering with me with this video, and let's get you back to Jujutsu Kaisen. Welcome back, I hope you enjoyed your lunch break. We are back after Yuuji knocked out and he finally wakes up in a sealed room with Gojo in front of him. And here is where a bunch of backstory is given to us. We learn more about Sukuna here, so let's put Yuuji down here. We learn that there's a small group of Jujutsu sorcerers trying to find all 20 of Sukuna's fingers. So Sukuna has 20 fingers, and the Jujutsu sorcerers have been able to get 6, well, now 7, with Yuuji having eaten one. What we know is that the fingers are indestructible, unless a vessel is able to eat all 20 of them. and if the vessel gets killed, then Sukuna will die. And the thing is, this council never thought that they'd be able to find a vessel who could still be in control of their own body without becoming evil and becoming Sukuna, until Yuuji came around. Is Yuuji strong enough to be the vessel of Sukuna without losing control? Gojo puts him to the test and makes him eat another finger, and he's still our golden retriever boy. The higher-ups allow Yuuji to live as long as he is the vessel of Sukuna, with the agreement that he dies after eating all 20 of the fingers. And Yuji's like, wow, dying doesn't really sound fun, but I'll be saving a lot of people if Sukuna dies. And Grandpa said if you save a lot of people, that means you won't die alone, so I guess this works out. Yuuji agrees, and Yuuji agrees to this offer and enters this world of Jujutsu sorcery. He gets enrolled into Jujutsu High, where he is rooming with Megumi, the other first-year student. He's now in this school to learn more about cursed energy and spirits. Of course, because this is kind of like a secret society of people, not many students are there in Jujutsu High. The only first-year students are Yuuji and Megumi, but also another first-year student, Nobara Kugisaki. Some character things is that she's a country girl, she's loud, entitled, and has a really, really strong introduction where she just makes fun of our boy Yuuji over here. And you're literally like, who is this girl? But then we learn that she is that girl. She has her own cursed technique like Megumi, who has like the divine dogs and cursed spirits. She uses this hammer and nails, and it's really, really cool and really, really badass. And a huge aspect that I love about Nobara is that they all get along with each other, especially with their sensei Gojo. A huge thing is that all three of them are just little gremlins, and Megumi is just, you know, minding his own business. One of my favorite examples of their dynamic is when Megumi is kind of getting flirted with by this girl, and Nobara and Yuuji lose it. They go to Gojo and are like, Megumi's getting hit on! Megumi's getting hit on! And Gojo's like, formation, we gotta get into formation. And they just embarrass the hell out of him, and it's a great time. Anyway, back to the plot. A big thing is that Gojo tells Yuuji that he shouldn't let out Sukuna on missions, just like the mission that they're about to go on. Our trio here is tasked with the mission to save 5 people from this juvenile detention center. That's it. Just save the 5 people and get out, because there's a special grade curse in the vicinity. What is a special grade curse? Well, normal curses they're scary, they're dangerous, but then you have special grade curses. And apparently, special grade curses are as dangerous as atomic bombs. They are catastrophically dangerous, which tells you a lot about Sukuna, who apparently is even stronger than a special grade, which tells you a lot about Gojo, who literally said to Yuuji, like, I can handle him. Like, where is he on this scale? Anyway, the 3 of them are getting their brief, and while this is happening, Yuuji spots a mother yelling for her son who is trapped in the detention center. She's crying, looking for him, and Yuji's like, we gotta save him. They start their mission and just see the damage that this cursed spirit has done to the place. And guess what? Yuuji spots a name tag on one of the corpses, and it's the name of the son that the mom was yelling out. Yuuji sees this and wants to carry the body back because he thinks back to his grandpa dying alone, so even though the boy's passed, he should at least be with his mother. A big part of Yuji's character now is guiding people to a proper death. Megumi sees Yuuji trying to carry the body and is like, yo, no, you cannot do that. We gotta run. We got the answers to where the people are. Let's go. The special grade is out there. We have to run. And Yuji's like, no, I want to do this. And Megumi's like, this is a detention center. This person doesn't even deserve it. He's a bad guy. Yuji's like, why does that matter? Don't you just want to save people no matter who they are? Don't you want to save people? After Gojo knocked me out, you said to save me. Why did you say that? They start fighting, and then suddenly chaos ensues. Nobara gets taken. One of Megumi's dogs die, and the special grade is here. The special grade decapitates Yuji's hand, and things are serious. Yuuji tells Megumi to go find Nobara and leave the premise so he can summon Sukuna. There we go. And once that happens, Sukuna takes control. And makes this special grade look like a little piss baby. When Sukuna gets summoned, he regenerates Yuji's hand. He says something that'll get all the guys whimpering and all the ladies worked up. Domain expansion. He chops up the special grade into some chicken strips and retrieves one of his fingers from the monster's stomach. Woo, we killed the special grade. And as we're waiting for Yuuji to come back, he doesn't. Sukuna's waiting for Yuji to take back control, and Yuji's not here. And then Sukuna smiles, showing how excited he is to be in full control of this body. He leaves the building and looks for Megumi, who just brought Nobara to the hospital, and Sukuna rips out Yuji's heart from this body. He holds Yuji's heart in his hand and is like, yeah, if Yuji ever tries to take control again, he'll die. Because I just needed a vessel that can handle me. Yuji actually needs his heart. Megumi tries to pick a fight with Sukuna, and it's bad. We know that he is so underpowered. He gets his ass beat. Except he also has that one technique where he has to sacrifice himself, so they both die, and so Megumi's like, guess I'll die. And Sukuna is actually really impressed with Megumi, actually. But for the first time in the series, we see Megumi actually showing emotion, showing hurt, that he's losing his new friend to this monster. Megumi reveals that he wants to be a Jujutsu sorcerer because he wants to save good people. And the reason that he told Gojo to save Yuji is because he believes that Yuji is a good person. After that's said, it reawakens Yuji, and Sukuna goes away. He's in control of his body again, but with his heart ripped out, he passes out and dies. We're on episode 5, by the way. So Megumi and Nobara both mourn Yuji's death, but like, is our main character actually dead? In the autopsy place, wherever you store a dead body, Yuji is actually striking up a deal with Sukuna in his mind. Because Sukuna still wants a vessel, and Yuji seems to be the only guy that can do it. We learned that curses can actually make a pact with humans, and those pacts are unbreakable. The two of them finally strike up this deal that whenever Yuji summons Sukuna can say the word extension and he will get an extra minute of control of this body, with the condition that he cannot kill or hurt anyone during this time. They shake hands, agree upon this, and Yuji resurrects from the dead. Yuji wakes up and Gojo sees this, daps him up, and is like, okay, welcome back, but also let's not tell anyone that you're alive yet, okay? Yuji doesn't question it and is like, you got it. Meanwhile, we also meet the second years of Jujutsu High. Yes, that is a panda. We'll introduce them later. We also meet this guy who wants to kill Gojo. Yes, he's like a volcano-cursed spirit. So while that's going on, Gojo decides to teach Yuji how to use cursed energy through watching movies. Gojo is Gojo, we don't question it. And so while Yuji is watching movies, Gojo is outside and this volcano guy decides to attack him. Let's put Yuji over here because he's busy watching movies. And you already know that any fight against Gojo means shit's about to go down. We learned that Lava Cake over here is actually a part of this special grade curse alliance where they're trying to like get rid of all of humanity and only cursed spirits can like rule the earth or something. But the thing is, one thing is getting in the way. Daddy Gojo. And during this sad attempt of a fight, despite him being a special grade curse, he can't even seem to touch Gojo. We actually learn more about Gojo's power and see that the closer you actually get to him, the slower you are, to the point where you literally can't even touch him. This guy is basically an anthill compared to Gojo. He is so underpowered to our man that it gets to the point where Gojo literally is like, be right back. BRB. It's so disrespectful. He's literally like, you are totally valid for wanting to murder me right now, but be right back, honestly. I'll be right back. Just 1 second. He teleports away to get Yuji, who's in the middle of watching something, to bring him there and use this guy as an example for a cursed lesson. This poor cursed spirit is now an example dummy. He gets so pissed that he uses the beautiful words, domain expansion. A domain expansion is something that Jujutsu sorcerers can use, where you basically make like this dome, this barrier filled with all of your own cursed energy. Everything that happens in a person's domain will critically hit their opponent inside it. And we see that the only way to counter someone's domain expansion is to send out your domain. Gojo says it, the panties are off, the blindfold is off. Sorry, anyway. He puts his own domain over it, canceling out his. And this is Gojo's world now. We're just living in it. Yuji watches as Gojo is literally about to kill this guy, but not without answers first. He's trying to figure out who sent him here, who's the leader of this cult. But the thing is, another special grade comes and saves Volcano Man, and he gets away. We are on episode 9 now. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Also, do you guys want to hear a cool new button that I found on my microphone? I have an auto-tune button. And I sound like T-Pain. Baby girl, what's your name? In the next episode, we are introduced to this character, Junpei. And Junpei is severely getting bullied by these 3 ugly guys. Like, severely bullied. It's pretty sad. And then he goes to the movies and sees these guys again. But while he's watching this movie, he sees somebody mysteriously get up and silently kills them. And that silent killer was a cursed spirit. So that makes Junpei able to see these things. Junpei goes after this mysterious killer, this cursed spirit, and asks him how he did it. And he starts to educate him on Jujutsu sorcery. This cursed spirit is Mahito, and these two, Junpei and him, become really close friends. And we especially know that Junpei is important because for the longest time in the banger of an opening that Jujutsu Kaisen has, it always ends with Yuuji and him at a picnic. And you're like, okay. So you're like, this guy's important. We've been waiting for him. New character, yay. I'm gonna just keep this here. Whoop. And now that this bond has been established, let's check back on Yuuji, and it's been a few months now. He's just improved with handling his cursed energy, and it's so cool. Let's move these guys to the corner for a bit. Yeah. So Yuuji has gotten so good with harnessing his cursed energy, so Gojo decides to send him out on a new mission. Again, it's been a few months, and everybody still thinks that Yuuji is still dead. So Gojo really only trusts his best friend to go on this mission with him. And that is our beloved character. Where is he? Oh, I found him. This is Nanami. This is Gojo's bestie. He was Gojo's underclassman when they both went to Jujutsu High. And like, think of their dynamic as Gojo is the golden retriever and this guy is the black cat. He's a grade A sorcerer and Gojo trusts him. That's all you need to know. So now Yuuji and him are on the mission to investigate the 3 murders at a movie theater. I wonder where that could be from. They find 3 really mangled and distorted bodies that could only be the cause of a cursed spirit. And while those get sent to get an autopsy and investigated on like the cause of death and what could have done it, these 2 continue to look for clues and they find a small cursed spirit, one wearing a human watch. Which means they're not fighting cursed spirits made from negative energy, but cursed spirits that were once human. While they're investigating this, Junpei is learning all about cursed energy from this guy, Mahito, who is even telling him that there are people out there that are scared of his power and want to kill him. People known as Jujutsu sorcerers. And Junpei's like, what? Why would anyone want to kill you? You're the guy that saved me from my bullies. Jujutsu sorcerers want to kill you? That means they're bad. Can you see where this is going? Some more backstory on Mahito. We learn that he's a relatively new cursed spirit who is experimenting on kids with his technique. So back to the investigation, we find that Junpei was leaving the theater on a security camera and Yuuji is told to go find him, while Nanami is tasked to go find the source of where all the cursed spirits are coming from. And so, now they're split up. Nanami follows faint traces of cursed energy down to some sewers where he finally meets Mahito. And Mahito's really excited to find a Jujutsu sorcerer looking for him, because now he can use his experiments on somebody worth fighting. And then from there, one of the best fights in this season happens. Now, we know and expect that Nanami is really, really strong, right? He's the guy babysitting Yuuji. He's Gojo's best friend. Nanami's got some power up his sleeve. But the thing is, he treats being a Jujutsu sorcerer like a 9-to-5 job. Something to clock into work for. And during this time, he's looking at his watch and is like, work's almost supposed to be over, but I'm still fighting this guy. And you have to know the iconic scene in Naruto where Rock Lee drops his weights when fighting Gaara and you're like, shit's about to get real? Jujutsu Kaisen was able to emanate that energy. 5 o'clock hits and Nanami is pissed. He has to work overtime now. And that's when the fight really starts. It's so good that the fight actually ends with a tie and like the ceiling falls down, rubble is everywhere, splitting the 2 up, and Nanami gets away with some minor injuries. Meanwhile, Yuuji is just hanging out with Junpei. Yuuji learns that he can also see cursed spirits, and we see this dynamic as, they're just kids. Yuuji asks what movie he was seeing in the theater, and they just nerd out and just talk about movies. It literally becomes so wholesome. Anyway, back to the serious stuff. Junpei finally asks Yuuji if he's a Jujutsu sorcerer. And of course, proudly, Yuji's like, hell yeah, I am. And Junpei's like, well, I heard sorcerers kill people. And Yuji's like, well, I hope I never gotta. Nothing more really comes from that. Yuuji leaves, and then later that night, somebody visits Junpei's house while he's asleep, and his mom's asleep. I wonder who it could be. While Junpei is asleep, somebody drops one of Sukuna's fingers in front of his mom and kills her. Obviously, it can't be our bad guy Mahito, Junpei's homie, and Junpei asks him, who do you think killed my mama? Mahito is like, you know what? Probably the other bullies at your school. Junpei goes to school the next day wearing all black, very emo of him, very school shooter chic, and starts his revenge. He rages against his classmates, and it's a very scary sight. A lot of cursed energy is appearing. The vibes are very negative here. A veil over the school appears just like the one from the detention center a few minutes ago. And when there's a veil around, you know something is about to happen. Nanami here is like, this definitely has to do with our mission, and Yuuji, I don't think that you should be a part of this anymore because you're friends with him and this is now too personal for you. And Yuji's like, he's my friend. This is exactly why I need to be a part of this mission. So Yuuji enters the school, finds Junpei, and is like, yo, you don't need to do this. And high-key, your classmates suck. Your school sucks. You know where you should go? You can see cursed spirits. You should go to high school with me. Come to Jujutsu High. But as this happens, Mahito pulls up and turns Junpei into one of those cursed monsters, which is something that I will never forgive this show for doing. My heart and soul during this plot twist ripped my heart out. I vividly remember watching this and just repeating, no way. This is so fucked up. This is fucked up. This is so fucked up. Over and over and over again. Like, look at them. Look at them in the opening. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Why would they do this? After Junpei turns into this monster, Yuuji is so distraught. He is trying to do anything to get his friend back. He even gets to the point where he asks Sukuna for help. He begs Sukuna to do anything within his power to turn Junpei back. And Sukuna says, nah, I'ma let him cook. I just realized that my mic turned off during the recording, but now we're back. Recording is going so well, please like this video. Anyway, we're all having a bad time. Yuji's new friend Junpei has just turned into a monster. These two are maniacally laughing at Yuuji, who is desperate to get his friend back. And Jujutsu Kaisen knows exactly what it's doing and decides to just break our entire being by showing us a fantasy timeline, a different universe, where Junpei does go to Jujutsu High with them. He joins the first year class, where he meets and befriends Nobara and Megumi, and I'm just sobbing. It's a terrible time, like what the hell, Jujutsu Kaisen? I'm emotional, and Junpei drops dead. I wish I was strong enough to rip this in half for, like, storytelling effect, but I'm not. Junpei is gone, he passes away, and Yuuji is pissed. Iconic main character rage right here. Like, he doesn't even need Sukuna's help. Nanami enters the fight. Yuuji and Nanami just go to town on Mahito. And then Mahito says the magic words, domain expansion. And his entire technique is using his cursed energy to, like, create cursed spirits, so why can't he do it on himself? So he tries it, it goes wrong, and he runs away. Mahito flees the fight. And Yuuji just takes in what happened and vows that next time he fights Mahito is not going to get away this time. So that's the end of that arc. But a month passes by now, and we got a tournament arc, people. Well, not really. It's more like a competition, and it's a school against another school. Okay, it is a tournament arc. This is where Jujutsu High Tokyo will go against Jujutsu High Kyoto and see who is the best school. And the thing is, everybody still thinks that Yuuji is dead, except for the very few people that Gojo trusts. I'm sure you must be wondering, what is Nobara and Megumi during this time while Yuuji was just doing all this stuff? Well, they've been going to school and I'm sure doing their own missions, but a big thing that happens while they're getting ready for this tournament arc is that Megumi and Nobara run into some Kyoto students. Specifically, this girl Mei and this iconic man, Todo. Both of them are definitely upperclassmen from Kyoto, and of course they're trying to scare the freshmen the first years. But before anything happens, Todo asks the two of them a very philosophical question. What kind of girl is your type? Of course he's not just some himbo, he obviously, of course, answers his own question as well, which is that he's into tall girls with a fat dumpy. Todo then looks to Megumi and says that, depending on the answer he gives, will tell him on whether or not if he should beat his ass. And then, of course, our boy Megumi says, personality. Boo! Lame, no fun. Todo, of course, agrees and just decides to beat his ass, jumps on him. But of course, just on time, our second years come through and they stop the whole exchange. Anyway, this arc is to prove which students are the strongest and which school is better. The rest of the students of Kyoto show up, and along with the other teachers, all the teachers in Kyoto are all like, "Where's the idiot?" referring to Gojo, who comes into the scene with a big cart in front of him with a bow on top of it. And of course, inside that cart is our boy Yuuji, who is sitting there really excited to see his friends again. But of course they're pissed and look like they've just seen a ghost, because they literally thought that he was dead. But of course at the end of the day they're just really happy to have their friend back. While all of the students go get ready for the tournament, all the teachers on the other hand have a little meeting about how they're uncomfortable with the vessel of Sukuna being a part of the games. Kinda makes it unfair, huh? But he is a student, so he has to participate, even though a lot of the teachers don't like it, especially the teachers from Kyoto. So the Kyoto teachers tell their students, kill Itadori. Try to kill Yuuji if you get the chance. Either way, there's a lot of Kyoto students and most of them aren't that memorable, but I also just want to shout out this blue-haired girl for being a Gojo stan. But let the games begin. Yuuji goes against Todo, who is probably the strongest student in Kyoto, and high-key, Yuuji is struggling against Todo. Todo is not holding back. He's literally just pummeling Yuuji into the ground, stomping on his head over and over again. And then Todo decides to see what kind of man Yuuji is. What kind of women are you into? Of course, Yuuji takes this question seriously and shakes off the probable concussion he has, and thinks to himself, probably a woman with a fat ass. Todo's mind is blown away. He has never met a man who has actually appreciated a woman's bottom just as much as he does. This newfound manly bond with Yuuji has now been set in stone. It's gone so far to the point where Todo literally imagines an entire life, a backstory, between the two of them where they were childhood best friends. And then during the fight, Todo no longer calls Yuuji by his name, but by besto friendo. Meanwhile, more fights between the students happen, and it's awesome. We learn that Maki over here has a sister and that they hate each other. Also that this witch girl from Kyoto is a pick-me bitch, but Nobara sits her down. Also, Panda, a badass. But remember that alliance, that cult of curses trying to take over the world? Yeah, they come and crash the tournament arc. They crash the school event and we see that cursed spirit that saved the volcano dude from earlier. The monster just goes from student to student beating them until it makes its way to Yuuji and Todo. A veil is then casted around the school grounds so teachers cannot get in. And then going against this cursed spirit, Todo then decides to use this fight to teach Yuuji more about cursed energy punches. All while a special grade just listens and watches that happen. Yuuji then learns a new technique called Black Flash, and another iconic fight happens. The special grade is putting up a fight against Todo and Yuuji, and the special grade is about to say domain expansion, but Daddy Gojo says, no ma'am. Sit down, Gojo's here, the mask is off. And again, the cursed spirit is like, Gojo's here? Bye! The special grade disappears and everyone is mostly okay, except for the fact that their competition got ruined. But then the teachers decide to have a game of baseball to decide the winner between the two schools, and of course, with Yuuji being an awesome athlete, he leads Tokyo to victory. Okay guys, we got 3 episodes left, final stretch. We got a new mission. The anime trio is back and they take on a mission to investigate Megumi's old school the school that he went to before Jujutsu High, to investigate more about a bunch of death that has been happening there. When they get to the bridge, they see 2 other cursed spirits looking for Sukuna's fingers. So those 2 cursed spirits are a whole new factor on top of the one that they're already looking for. So the 3 decide to split up, and Megumi goes after the main curse from his high school, while Yuuji and Nobara take on the 2 looking for Sukuna's fingers. We get a Megumi backstory where we see Gojo teaching him, and Megumi really likes having that trump card of the sacrificing move that he has. And Gojo goes yeah, that is a cool technique, but you have to sacrifice yourself. Stop wanting to sacrifice yourself. He wants Megumi to learn to be greedy, want more than death. Sukuna earlier in the show was impressed with him. Megumi is capable of so much more. So Megumi is 1v1ing another cursed spirit, and Megumi says, domain expansion. Meanwhile, these 2 are exchanging blows, working together to fight their 2 cursed spirits. Nobara gets attacked where she gets poisoned, but that doesn't stop her, and what I appreciate about Jujutsu Kaisen's author is that he gives Nobara the spotlight. The author said, I'ma have Yuuji set it up, but Nobara finishes it off. This is Nobara's moment, and it's awesome. Nobara and Megumi get their moments, and it's so cool, and it's so earned, and it's just amazing. It's battle shonen at its finest. And that's not all, because we have one more guy to take care of, and so Yuuji and Nobara have this awesome combo attack together. And it's thrilling, and honestly, it's so good. A big aspect about this fight, though, is that the 2 cursed spirits that these 2 are fighting are brothers, and they actually have one more brother who isn't there, so he'll probably want to seek out revenge later. Now all 3 of them can say that they've fought their own special grade curse. All 3 of them have proven themselves to be capable jujutsu sorcerers. By the end of it all, they all earn the title of a grade 1 sorcerer, making this such a good ending to season 1. It even sets more up with the second years hearing this being yo, first years just proved themselves. We can't fall behind. There's so much hope, there's so much setup, but it also is such a solid and exciting ending now that Yuuji is back with the gang, and that is the ending of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1. But that's not the end of the anime timeline. We also have a movie. Hey guys, it's been about a day. I recorded season 1, the entirety of season 1, explaining that yesterday, and now it's the next night. I got really tired. I was done around 3 a.m., so now it's 10 p.m., so let's see how long this takes me to just do a whole movie. So I want you to take everything that I told you about Yuji's story, Megumi, Nobara, and just shove it in a box in your brain and push it to the side. Because this movie doesn't focus on them, it focuses on, where are they? It focuses on the second years. This movie is like a prequel to the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen and kind of sets up the overarching villain storyline for Gojo in the second season, so it's important to know it's canon and it needs to be in this video if I'm going to explain everything in the Jujutsu Kaisen anime, so let's do this. I'm pretty sure it's setting it up. I'm a manga reader. I just think that this information is important. So as I said, we are focusing on the second years, which is Maki, Panda, and Inumaki, but we are also focusing on the main character of the movie and the final classmate to the second years, Yuta. So let's put him up here. Side fact that I know is that this movie is a prequel, yes, to the main series, but it's also apparently the first draft that the writer had of the story of Jujutsu Kaisen, and just rewrote it and made Yuuji the main character, but at first it was him. And you're going to see a lot of overlapping storylines, and you'll see it. But anyway, the main character for the movie is Yuta. We start off with a bunch of ugly bastards bullying our boy Yuta over here, who then calls out the name Rika, and then suddenly a bunch of blood splatters on the wall, and we see Yuta crying in the corner, just whimpering, saying, I'm sorry, over and over again. Clearly just some traumatizing shit just happened to him, but we don't know what happened other than that probably a cursed spirit did this, and now Yuta is in the same position Yuuji was in the first episode of the anime. In a sealed room, locked away, on trial with our man, Gojo in front of him. Get on the wall. Here on this trial, Gojo and a bunch of jujutsu sorcerers on the council are trying to see if the cursed spirit that's attached to Yuta is dangerous. And Gojo's like, no, it's not. It's fine. I think there's something more to this, and I'll make sure that nothing happens. And see, when a big, dangerous cursed spirit is there, the council is always straight to kill them. Especially we've seen this with Yuuji in the first episode. But either way, Gojo says, I got it, he won't be a danger, and he enrolls Yuta into Jujutsu High where he meets... Where's our boy? Hello? So then Gojo enrolls Yuta into Jujutsu High to understand more about cursed spirits and cursed energy, where he also joins the first class with Maki, Panda... Panda doesn't have sticky tack. I am not that ready as I thought I was. Maki, Inumaki, and Panda. Let me use the chalk for this. Okay, so Gojo introduces Yuta to his class, and immediately, they're students. They've been taking on cursed spirits. And the moment Yuta walks in, they know that there's something wrong with him. There's a lot of cursed energy, a lot of bad vibes coming from Yuta. They all go into combat mode, and Yuta's like, oh my god, they want to kill me? Gojo stops it all and is like, oh right, I probably should have told you that Jujutsu High is a school to make child soldiers to fight cursed spirits, which is what is attached to you. Maki, Panda, and Inumaki are like, you didn't tell him? And Yuta's like, you didn't tell me? We then get a bunch of backstory for Yuta. We learn that Yuta has a cursed spirit attached to him who is really, really powerful, but was actually a childhood friend of his named Rika. And the two of them were really, really close. They were so close that they even wanted to marry each other when they were children and exchanged rings and all that. But then she got into a car accident and died, and then became this monster apparition. Look at her. Look how horrifying. Scary. Basically, she's attached to him at all times because she loves him and doesn't want anything bad to happen to Yuta. And of course their love for each other is always there. Yuta still wears that little kid ring that they both had as a necklace. Yuta's loyal, Rika's loyal, she won't let anything bad to happen to him. Get you a girl like Rika. Now, let's run through the second years one last time. This is Maki Zenin. She is a weapons expert. She uses cursed tools to exorcise spirits, and a big character thing is that she has glasses and is a part of the Zenin clan, which is a really highly respected and powerful clan of Jujutsu sorcerers. We have Toge Inumaki. He's a cursed speech user where basically anything he says will happen. So if he says die, you will die. So essentially he really can't say much other than rice ball fillings or else you die. And then there's Panda. A big thing that happens before anything is to establish that Maki really does not like Yuta. And it's kind of understandable because Yuta's a pussy. She even is like, you don't deserve to be a pussy. Why are you acting like a victim when you have a big monster protecting you at all times? Stop acting that way and figure out why you want to be a Jujutsu sorcerer. Panda and Inumaki are like, whoa. Girl, chill. He's new. Cut him some slack. But that's really it. That's their introduction, and then Gojo puts them all in a mission. Panda and Toge are supposed to be put together, and on this mission, Gojo says to retrieve 2 kids who are missing at this elementary school, which has a cursed spirit on the grounds. So Yuta and Maki are sent to go to this school to hunt down these 2 kids, dead or alive. They just have to retrieve their bodies. That is their mission. And we get so much badassery from Maki in this sequence. So Maki's carrying most of the weight so far in this mission. She's fighting the demons, Yuta's watching in awe, and we're all just like, mommy? But it doesn't take long before the 2 of them are eaten by the special grade before they could even find the kids. Yuta over here is still being quite the pussy, while Maki is trying her best to figure things out. The kids are about to die, Maki's poisoned, she is super weak, and Yuta still doesn't know how to make Rika come out by himself. Like, Rika is in control and only comes out when she really thinks Yuta is in danger. And Maki is really frustrated with him and gives him one more glorious speech on like, why are you here? You need to get up and do something. Stop being so afraid. And guess what? Yuta stops being so afraid. When Maki passes out, Yuta knows it's on him, and suddenly something clicks. Maki asks him the question so many times, why are you here? And Yuta finally has an epiphany. He thinks, damn, I really don't want to be a burden to people. I really hate being so inconvenient. And he realizes he should stop thinking about that. He should have confidence. I should take note. And he wants to feel happy and not feel like a nuisance and instead use this curse to save people. He ultimately just wants to be happy to be alive, and he thinks that he can do that by saving others. So instead of Rika coming out to protect Yuta, he forces her out. Yuta takes off his ring from his neck and actually puts it on and is like, Rika, lend me your strength. Yuta gains his confidence, saves Maki, saves the children, and they make it out of the school alive and completed their mission. We love a character arc. We see Rika as a spirit, as a ghost of her human self, and is so proud of Yuta for finding a purpose in life. He stood up for himself. We have a whole Jujutsu sorcerer now. We see a motivated and battle-ready Yuta training with his classmates. He bonds with Panda over ass or titties. It's a training arc. He learns to stand up for himself and actually become a worthy opponent, sparring with Maki, and even gets a sword. Meanwhile, we have Gojo behind the scenes trying to figure out why Rika is Rika. How did a girl who doesn't really come from a line of Jujutsu sorcerers or like has any correlation with curses become so powerful and so scary and so ugly? She's so powerful, so strong that she's even got the title as the Queen of Curses. I hope you guys are seeing the correlation now between the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen and the movie. Yuuji is a vessel to the King of Curses. Yuta is attached to the Queen of Curses. Gojo is still trying to figure all of that out, and the council is very much on Gojo's ass, still thinking that Yuta and Rika are a menace to society. They are a huge threat. So they tell Gojo, good luck with your research, but remember, we still kinda wanna kill him because they're dangerous. And Gojo's like, as the most powerful Jujutsu sorcerer, I don't think I want that to happen to my student. So no. You wanna kill my student? Go through me first. We love Gojo. Back to Yuta, Gojo even tells him that you really shouldn't try summoning Rika too often, but you know what you can do is try imbuing her curse into this sword that you have. So use this sword just like how Maki uses other weapons to fight. Yuta is then assigned to go on a mission with Inumaki to exorcise a spirit which was actually a trap set by our big main villain, Suguru Geto, who, aside from being the big bad villain, actually used to be a student at Jujutsu High and best friends with Gojo. So how did he get expelled? Well, he murdered a lot of people. Seems like a very valid reason to get expelled from school. His curse technique is actually being able to absorb other curses and just collect them all inside like his body or something. So basically he's like a bomb of cursed energy ready to explode. I wonder what the climax will be. So Geto behind the scenes has kind of become a cult leader. He basically thinks that Jujutsu sorcerers are the top of the food chain and all of humanity should be dead or below him. So of course he has to try to get the Queen of Curses on his side. Man basically goes to Yuta asking him to join his cult, but of course, in reality, he wants to exploit Rika's powers. And Geto even is like, this is just evolution. This is just survival of the fittest. As this happens, he's insulting all of Yuta's friends, the rest of his class. He even goes as far as calling Maki the Zenin clan failure, which really hurts her. And then Yuta sees this and is like, no one insults my friends. And then suddenly Gojo shows up and is like, what's good, fam? Long time no see, what's up? And Geto's like, I'm here to start war. He XD and then just says his entire evil plan. He literally says everything, Doofenshmirtz style. He reveals that he's going to release hundreds of spirits all over Japan. He says he's doing it on Christmas Eve. Apparently it's going to be an all-out war with hundreds of curses while there's only just a handful of Jujutsu sorcerers that exist. This is basically the billion lions versus a few Pokemon debate. And you know, a billion lions is a lot. So it's wartime. Christmas Eve is here. All the Jujutsu sorcerers are getting ready and preparing for the hundreds of demons that are going to come out, and Gojo and all the sorcerers agree that Rika is an atomic bomb and is too dangerous to be let out during the fight, so let's have the people with the least experience not show up to war, huh? So Maki and Yuta stay behind at the school while everyone else is fighting the war. Can you see where this is going yet? So they're left behind and we actually get some backstory to Maki. So we know that Maki is a part of the Zenin clan who is respected and really powerful clan of Jujutsu sorcerers. And the thing is about Jujutsu sorcery, to be a sorcerer, the bare minimum is to be able to see curses. And the thing is, Maki wears glasses, but not because she has bad eyesight, but because she needs them to see cursed spirits. The glasses have cursed energy in it. So because of this birth defect of not being able to see curses, everybody looks at her as a failure. But of course that's just a lie because she's one of the most badass characters characters in this series. So of course Yuta asks her, then why are you here? Why are you a Jujutsu sorcerer? And Maki simply replies, because I'm bitter as hell. They're being bitches and I'm gonna show them that. I'm spiteful. I left home and I'm not going home until they see that I am a grade 1 sorcerer who can't see curses. I'm gonna make them sit down and shut up. What a legend she is. That was loud. What a legend she is. They both have a really cute moment together where Yuta's like, that's really admirable, and Maki blushes and it's really, really wholesome. But also there's a war going on trying to save Tokyo or whatever. So let's get back to that. There are fights. It's battle shonen galore. We have Gojo versus this powerful guy. Toto, do you remember him? Besto friendo? Likes girls with fat asses. He's kicking ass. And also Nanami, he wasn't even supposed to be in this movie, but the fans loved him from the first season so much that they had to put him in here. Also, there are 100 demons. It's a lot. But where's their leader? Where's Geto? Guess what? Geto was actually using this as a ploy to get all the sorcerers away from Yuta so he could take Rika. But guess what? Gojo eventually figures that out and sends Inumaki and Panda straight to them. But the thing is, again, he absorbs a bunch of curses. He is so strong. Panda, unfortunately, loses. Inumaki loses. Maki, we know. She's inexperienced. She's still strong. But she does get her ass handed to her. Dies. No, she doesn't. But Yuta witnesses his friends fall to the ground, and we see protagonist rage. It's iconic. He sends Rika out, and Geto's like, don't worry, I'm gonna kill you. And Yuta's like, nah, man. I'm gonna murder you. Geto and Yuta are exchanging blows. He's releasing stronger and stronger curses, and Yuta's putting up a fight. And Yuta reaches a point where he goes to Rika and tells her, thank you so much for everything you've done for me. Thank you for protecting me. And I want to ask you this one last thing. Lend me all of your power. And if you do so, we can finally be together forever. Just like we promised. Let's die together. This sends Rika on a rampage. Their love grows stronger. It's kind of cheesy, but the music swells, the animation goes off, and you can't help but be in awe. This scene is just so powerful. Like, y'all, I get you're too lazy to, like, go through the show, but if you want, please watch the movie. A huge blow demolishes like half the school, and Geto barely gets away alive. Man is barely living. He is on a thread right now. Gojo eventually finds his old bestie in an alleyway. Geto is basically on the brink of death. Gojo asks if he has any final words, and Geto says that he believed in everything that he's done. And then he kills him. As this happens, Yuta is ready to fulfill his promise to Rika for them to be together forever. And Maki, Panda, and Inumaki wake up and are like, no, what are you doing? Where are you going? But Gojo finally comes in and sees all this and gives us all the answers to the questions that we've been wondering. We learn that Yuta is actually a distant relative to Gojo, and that the entire time we thought that Rika was a curse attached to Yuta, but actually he put a curse on Rika to be attached to him when he was scared of losing her as a child. And finally, Yuta breaks the curse, and we see Rika as her human spirit. Yuta breaks down crying, knowing that it was him that's killed all those people, those bullies, and not Rika. He apologizes, and then Rika finally finds peace and moves on into the afterlife. From here, the story finally ends with Yuta returning back to Jujutsu High and continues his studies along with the rest of his classmates, and that's the story of Jujutsu Kaisen so far. But then again, we don't really see him in the main story, so something's building. And I know the story of Gojo and Geto is a really, really big thing in season 2, so... But that's Jujutsu Kaisen. Yeah. I did it. Mic drop. I'm not gonna actually do that because this was expensive. Thank you so much for watching.